Start? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
ये शांति है लड़ते हैं वो शांति है मुझे आपको माइक चाहिए माइक चाहिए
Is my voice audible? Or do you think I should use the mic?
I'm just thinking because there is some background noise as well.
Okay, sure.
So maybe that way. I just put it on.
This is how it...
yes. Yeah.
Good. Is this all right?
Yeah, just have to put it on. Yeah?
Okay.
Can I just take it off first?
Yeah, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we will be offering lamps to Lord Krishna, and we would also offer prayers which describe the wonderful pastimes of Krishna when he was tied up by his mother. So great saint of the name Satyavrat Muni, he was inspired to describe the glories of Lord Krishna in various ways. So he thought that, or maybe he was motivated to begin by describing his childhood pastimes. And he started off describing how Lord Krishna is running away in fear of Mother Yashoda. In the early days of Krishna consciousness, on 2nd Avenue, New York, Lower East Side, Srila Prabhupada would be explaining to a group of young men and women about how God loves to eat butter. And this appeared so fascinating to them. Like, so God is a multifaceted personality. Like he just perform the function of punishing people. Other than that, he's got other functions too. He's other abilities too. So it was very intriguing for them to think of God as a person. They always, most of them in those days, the majority community, the majority of the members of the audience were from the Christian faith, at least their parents were, but they grew up in the Christian faith. So there is the conception of God's personality, that he is a loving father, takes care of you. However, the idea of God eating was new. So they were eager to know more about what would this person do. So then Prabhupada described that God's form is spiritual. And his body has a particular hue, color. So they wanted to know what kind of color was God's form of. So he said, blue in color. So they would be so excited to tell everyone about the blue God. This was much before Avatar, the movie. And somewhere along the lines, he told them that God likes to steal butter. Most of the young people of those times, they were already rebels. In their own way, they were trying to find religion in their lives. So the idea of stealing appealed to them. And this is true, because in this world, whenever we speak about good and bad, then being good or trying to act good is of paramount importance. I mean, it's like you don't They're not expected to ever choose bad over good. And stealing in any form does not fall under the category of good. So God's stealing does open up a lot of avenues.
That we can steal.
Well, I'm not saying that, but it does. Isn't it? So stealing remnants of devotees, stealing Mahaprasad, stealing blessings. So these are more of the sattvic forms of the idea of stealing. So anyways, Prabhupada introduced them to the idea of God stealing butter. And then he gave them the Krishna book. And therein, a lot of love and a lot of endeavor. Prabhupada tried to enumerate all that was there in a sequential form. He tried to enumerate everything that was there in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Krishna book. So in the Krishna book, they found that God could be punished for stealing butter. Not stealing butter. Yeah, stealing butter, maybe. We could indirectly. So that really sent a strong message that even if God steals, he has to answer for it. And who does he have to answer to? His mother. I think they love the idea of God having a mother. So then Mother Yashoda became very famous amongst the Krishna conscious society, the members of the Krishna conscious society. Mother Yashoda was very much respected. And if they could have access to her, like they would have most of the adults, mothers and fathers in any family, they would want to get parenting lessons from her, I guess. How did he manage to take care of God, Krishna? So Satyavrat Muni is beginning his prayer by offering his respects to this great personality. Namam Nisharam. So that is Namam, Namami. I offer my obeisances to whom? To whom does Satyavrat Muni offer his obeisances to? You and me? He offers his respects to that personality from whom one can seek permission to perform wonderful acts and get his blessings. Why? Because he is a controller. He's in control of things. Satyavrat Muni is trying to write some words of glorification unto him. So he has to not just seek permission, but also be assured that this attempt of his would be successful. So is there a possibility that he could be defeated in this purpose? Impossible. Why? Somebody asked him, how are you sure? Are you really sure you'd be able to do this? How can you be so sure? He says, because I've offered my obeisances to whom? To the supreme controller. Someone who has control over everything that exists and beyond. That person has control over my ability to write, to think, to express. Ishvara. Ishvara means the supreme controller. Another understanding of Ishvara is the Lord and Master. So he's wanting to offer his respects to the Supreme Lord, who is the Master. In other words, it is an eulogy or an offering unto the Supreme Master. So Namamishwaram Satchidananda Rupam. So this is like the exalted community of sages. They exactly know what's going to come next. It's very inspiring because you had no idea that I had forgotten what was next. So you see, there are certain tricks that we have up our sleeves. I don't have sleeves in one sense, but it's up somewhere there. Tricks. You help me out. So I know what comes next now. So Satchidananda Rupam. The Supreme Lord, whose form is of eternity, bliss, blissful consciousness. Why would he do that? What is the reason he wants to do that? Doesn't seem clear as of now. Satchidananda Rupam, form of bliss and consciousness and bliss, established in eternity. Satchidananda. So he expresses the reason for addressing the Supreme Lord as Satchidananda in the second line of this stanza. Lasat kundalam gokule rajamanam. So Lasat kundalam. Lasat is expressing and it's action in the active sense, like a lot of energy. There's so much of positivity here. Kundala is earrings. So what is so very energetic about the earrings? Or what makes you feel so very positively inclined? Lasat Kundala. It's poetic. So everyone who is trying to extract meanings from a poem, according to their way of thinking, they try to do that, right? So Lasat Kundala means Typically, when you have ornaments on you, you'd want to be careful with them so that they don't get entangled in your hair or don't fall off, or it doesn't seem very, very difficult for you to handle them on your person. Have you ever had kundals? Have you ever had earrings that hang down your ears? So every single moment, and your consciousness is on those earrings, like where is it right now? It's in motion. So lasat kundalam. This person, he loves to do that. He loves going like this with his dangling earrings. He kind of shows off. He finds it so very exciting, or in his childlike fun activity, he wants to do that. He wants to just shake his head so that his earrings go back and forth. So it seems to be fun. Satchidananda Rupam. So there is intense philosophy there, and suddenly he is trying to describe an activity that would be considered to be very childish, would be considered to be very light-hearted, not of much significance. Gokule Bhrajamana. So then it says that this is what he does in Gokul. Brajamanam, as if he is the king of Gokul. He roams around the land in this town. He roams around as if he owns everything. And he's just a kid. So maybe these are a kid's imagination. This is a child's imagination, that I am the king here. This is my kingdom, like that. However, his form is Satchidananda. His form is of eternity bliss and fully conscious. So is he a child or is he not? So Satyavat Muni says, forget all of that. Just enjoy the earrings dangling forth. Why are you so much concerned about philosophy when you can be absorbed in the beauty of those dangling earrings that shine forth or shine on his cheeks? His cheeks reflect the shine of those earrings. Why cannot you meditate on that? And you're like, no, what is Satchidananda? Tell me that. Have fun. Have fun in life. Don't be so stressed out. Go cool. Why? Because the person that I'm going to describe does that. He just has fun in Gokul. But his God, isn't he supposed to kind of be grave? No. In Vrindavan, he likes to have fun. That is Gokul. So in Gokul, if you approach Krishna as, my dear Lord, please next month I have an exam. Please next month I have to pay my mortgage. Help me out. Krishna is like, visit me when I'm out of Gokul. Right now, meditate on my earrings. So Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhajamanam Yashoda Bhiyolu Kala Tavamanam. Yashoda Bhiyo Ukhalad Dhavaman. Is saying Krishna is afraid. Yashoda Bhiyo. Like now, how a child becomes afraid of its parent. Typically, children are not supposed to be afraid of their mother so much. So Yashoda bhiyo, olukhala, ukhala. So there are two meanings here. One meaning is that, oh, not only is Krishna afraid of Mother Yashoda, the Ukhal is also afraid of Mother Yashoda. The grinding pot, the Ukhal. Krishna is tied to that Ukhal, the grinding mortar, right? Mortar. So he says, even the Ukhal is now afraid, like, why did you get me involved in all of this mess? So how did the Ukhal get involved in the mess? And what was the mess? What was trouble that Krishna is in? The trouble is such that Krishna has to run away in fright from Mother Yashoda. Run away. Why is he running away from Mother Yashoda? Because Mother Yashoda is trying to catch him. Krishna is kind of telling Mother, this is not fair. You should tell me that you want to play catch, or tag. Out of nowhere, you're trying to come, just slowly tiptoeing and coming up to me from behind my back. Not fair, not fair. So he runs. So Krishna had spoiled an entire afternoon's work of Mother Yashoda. So the whole afternoon Mother Yashoda had spent in trying to churn butter. Rather late morning, the whole of late morning, not afternoon, late morning. So the whole of morning and late morning, she was doing this churn the yogurt, go on churning. In those days, we did not have the 5-second churner, the mixer, mixer and grinder. We did not have that. And Mother Yashoda had big plans for the day. So she had a huge pot of butter or huge pot of yogurt, which she was churning with a churning rod and ropes. She was like this. She's like going on and on and on and on. And Krishna is like, well, this is not why I appear on this earth, that my mother would have to work so much. All she has to do is have fun with me so that I can have fun with her. So then he destroys that pot. It's a long story. Mother Yashoda has gone off to another room, into the kitchen, actually. And Krishna takes a stone and breaks the pot with the stone. So it's not very clear what he did. Either he threw the stone at the pot or he just hit the pot with the take a pick. But he used the stone to break the pot. So if someone tells you that Krishna threw the stone, don't take it as Veda Vakya, the absolute truth. So if you are going to put up a drama with children, then 1 year you can make the child playing Krishna throw the piece of rock. The other year you can bang it against the pot. Just giving you ideas. So the pot was broken. And according to the laws of physics and fluid dynamics, which Krishna knew very well, everything started seeping out onto the floor. And you're so smart, you stepped right into it. Right into that seeping mixture of yogurt, liquid yogurt, and some floating butter. He steps right into it. And when he steps right into it, he kind of realizes that he must be in trouble now. And Krishna is wondering that after the entire devastation takes place, and everything has come to an end. I know how to put the world together during creation, but I'm not sure how to rebuild this pot and get all the material that has spilled off into the pot again. It's like, I don't think I have understood reverse fluid dynamics. Maybe he did not know about a suction pump and things like that. Pipette would have worked, I guess. So Krishna is like, keep your theories to yourself. I'm running off. So he runs off. And because he's running off, Mother Yashoda comes into the room. She sees all this mess and she wants to catch him. So she's running after Krishna. So what about the Ukhala or Okhala? The grinding mortar. What about it? So Krishna, as he's running off, on his way out of the room, he sees a few other pots of butter. He's like, if I have to run off, why not take some butter with me? And as I'm running away, I can look on the butter. A child would do that, isn't it? Even if his child is afraid, the child goes like, picks up things and then runs out. So again, this is Satchidananda Rupam, all right? This is Supreme Lord whose form is of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Now, as of yet, none of these three qualities are anywhere over the horizon of what Krishna is doing. As of it is not over there. Everything seems to be an ordinary act of an ordinary child. So when Krishna runs off with the butter, after just a few steps of running off, he says, I'm so tired. My God, it seems I've run like a huge marathon. I need to take rest. And it's so hot. I'm feeling so hot. I need to climb up, go to a high altitude. So he looks around and sees this grinding mortar, which seems to him to be like a small mountain peak. He says, yes. I go up there. The oxygen there would be rare, which means gaseous exchange is going to be limited. He did all of those calculations in his head. And it's going to be cooler up there. So he climbs up on the mortar, sits there, and he's eating up the butter. And then the monkeys come and like, are you going to eat all of that alone? So Krishna with his little hands, he starts feeding the monkeys. These tiny, tiny fingers. He's just a toddler as of yet. He wants to feed them. And the monkeys are like, why are you feeding us? I'm trying to repay my debt to you. Like, what debt? In my last incarnation, you helped me build a bridge. We did not. Your ancestors did. What bridge? Well, I was Ram and your ancestors were members of Sugriva's family, the extended tree. Eat. They're like, the law of karma, I guess it works. Blessings pass off generations, pass down generations, I guess. So they were very happy to receive the remuneration for all the hard work their ancestors had put in. They're like, yes, Krishna, please feed us. After some time, they were so full, they said, yeah, it's enough, enough. So Krishna said, no, take more. They're like, we are full. Krishna said, I know. Even I don't like this butter's taste. My mother doesn't know how to churn good butter. That was the moment Mother Yashoda stepped in. She was like, I put in a whole day of morning both of hard work for this gentleman. And he smashed that very pot to bits. And now he tells his friends that I am so useless? I mean, he could have done it in private, but he's done it publicly. So Mother Yashoda is very, very concerned that her son does not have any filters. So Mother Yashoda is like, I have to do some AI modification on him, some filters on. So she wants to catch him. Krishna becomes afraid. Oh, maybe she wants to make me pay for my mistake. So he starts running off. So Mother Yashoda, when she sees Krishna run off, she looks at the Ukkar and she says, wait, you were also participating in this business where he was feeding off the monkeys and you were helping him out. So you are a culprit too. And the Ukkal is like, why do I even exist? I was just simply staying here, standing here. And he was sitting on me and I felt so happy. My existence has some meaning. And now I wonder what kind of meaning it has. I'm being accused. So Yashoda Bhiyolo Kala Dhavama. Mother Yashoda is running behind Krishna to catch him. Finally, she does catch him. And then she says that I need to teach you a lesson. If I let you loose, you just increase the intensity of your naughty behavior. So I must tie you up. And this mortar, and the mortar says, no, I'm not involved. I plead innocence. Krishna is like, you cannot. You're already involved. Hence, Mother Yashoda ties up the mortar too. And she ties up Krishna to the wooden mortar. The mortar feels that this is not fair. Why am I being tied up? Krishna is like, my mother, she is not who she's supposed to be. People say mothers are forgiving. She doesn't seem to be forgiving right now. The rope had no business in this entire affair. And the rope is thinking, this is causeless mercy. I get to tie Krishna around his belly, and the whole universe is inside Krishna's belly, and the entire creation is inside Krishna's belly, and I have the great fortune of holding all of that together with my knot. Hence, the last stanza of this wonderful poem, Satyavrat Mani offers respects to the rope. But Krishna says, not so fast, not so fast. I still have a few more tricks up my sleeve. Krishna has sleeves, by the way. So Mother Yashoda is trying to tie him up by putting on a knot, and the two ends of the rope would not meet. Mother Yashoda was pulling at the two ends of the rope, and they would not come together. Mother Yashoda, now in those days, they would use their limbs and their bodily appendages for measurement. So Mother Yashoda is wondering how much more rope would I need to make them come together. So she puts her fingers in the gap to measure how much the gap is. And the two ends are 2 fingers short. So she goes around looking for a rope. But then she realizes that wouldn't be sufficient to attach this piece of rope to that. So she gets another piece of rope, long enough to be connected to the rope that was still around Krishna's belly, somehow or the other. So Krishna has a nice roly-poly belly. So it was hanging on his belly. So she comes with another rope and she ties the second rope to the first rope with a knot. And she now puts that rope around Krishna's belly and she's confident that I can now tie him up. But again, when she tries to get the two loose ends together, it is 2 fingers short. She finally says, my son, this is so amazing. Please let me tie you up. And Krishna is like, I'm a gentleman at heart. And someone says, please, I cannot refuse. And Krishna says, well, conditions apply. Because many times people come, please, my dear Lord. So he says, all right, you can tie me up. So how is this Satchidanand? Now we understand how this is Satchidanand. What is Satchidanand? Satchidanand means conscious, blissful, existing in eternity, which basically means that which is supernatural, that which is very, very, very unique. So as Mother Yashoda was trying to tie him up, Krishna revealed that all her attempts, or anyone attempts, at trying to tie up Krishna will not be successful, despite using all of their material intelligence. It would not be possible till the time they ask, seek permission from Krishna or blessings from him. Or typically in our community, the word used is surrender. Very heavy word. My tongue feels so heavy after saying that word. Surrender. Therefore, I don't speak of it much. I just speak of, let us chant Hare Krishna. Because hopefully, by chanting Hare Krishna, the tongue would get the strength to understand the deep significance of the word surrender. But more than surrender, it is Sharanagati. Because surrender means becoming passive. I won't run away anywhere. I'm at your disposal. Sharanagati is in the active sense. To come and take shelter. Sharana agataha. To come and take shelter. So whenever we speak of Sharanagati, it is a process of constant endeavor to take shelter of Krishna. Because every time you take shelter of Krishna, I mean, if one really takes shelter of Krishna, then scriptures explain that when you have taken complete shelter of Krishna, you feel so secure and so blissful that you want to take more shelter. It's like when you have nice rasagulla, ice cream, like really very tasty ice cream. And every time you have a spoonful, you feel so satisfied with the taste, you want to take another scoop. Is it true? Or are you unsatisfied? Like, no, I think I should take another scoop because I did not really get the taste. Do you do that? Or you're like, it's so tasty, I don't want anything else. Take another scoop. You just said you didn't want anything else. But you cannot stop yourself from taking another scoop after scoop after scoop. And given a choice, even if your stomach is full, you would like to empty your stomach and go on. Because it is so attractive. So Sharanagati, the idea of Sharanagati is eternally taking shelter of Krishna. As soon as you've taken complete shelter of Krishna, you're like so happy, so blissful, you're like, I want to do it more. So Krishna is like, all right, let me create a situation where you'll feel that you can afford to take more shelter of Krishna. And for that, you don't have to be anymore in the material world. You don't have to do that. You can still be in your liberated state of existence and endeavor to take more shelter of Krishna. And this is how Prabhupada described spiritual life. He said spiritual life is how did he describe it? Perfect. Spiritual life is perfect. More perfect. So is perfect less? Is there anything lacking in the word perfect? No. So spiritual life is perfect, more perfect, most perfect. Try and figure that out. How do you use the word most perfect? Because perfect itself has some meaning, right? What does perfect mean? Done. Isn't it? It's complete. Complete, more complete, most complete. Therefore, Sharanagati, this is a process of ever increasing pleasure. Chanting Hare Krishna is a process of finding ever increasing pleasure. High sounding words as of now, but at least Prabhupada has given us a conceptual goal when he's describing the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the Shikshashtaka. He gives us that conception. Ever increasing pleasure. How many of us want to be in a state of, or want to find pleasure? Happiness. Now, once you've found happiness, do you think you're going to be searching for more happiness? Do you think you'd want to be searching? Anyone would be wanting to search for more happiness if they found happiness? Yes or no?
Yes.
Give me an example.
I got a car, Tesla. I'm happy, but then I want something else beyond Tesla. Or something else.
So stop being happy.
Yeah, that doesn't like I'm satisfied at one point. I got what I wanted, but then I hanker for some other thing, more happiness.
So that is what I'm saying. In this state, are you still happy with the Tesla and then wanting more, or you're like, yeah, now I have Tesla, but
Yeah.
I need something more.
Yeah.
So is it because Tesla is still as satisfying, or you want to find something more satisfying?
It was satisfying for some point, then I want something more that will satisfy my.
So basically, the idea of satisfaction was an illusion.
I know.
Okay, that makes sense now.
More luxurious, more luxury.
So when you're in illusion, then we realize that the conception of more happiness is there. But if there's no longer illusion, what is this? What is the purpose of seeking more happiness?
Only when you are content with whatever you have. And offer everything you have to Krishna, whatever comes in the way. That will be the happiness.
Okay. So why would you want more happiness then?
Greed.
That's good. Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
I can say, once we have the happiness, so maybe after some time, that happiness is no more happiness because we need something more.
Okay.
So that happiness is temporary if we need more. If we need that absolute happiness, that is true happiness we don't need. But whatever we are looking like more and more, that is, I think, temporary happiness.
All right. So how do you relate that to greed?
Because it is great to become, happy, and then once everything is done, like we are satisfied, we need more, more.
So is that good or not good?
It's not good.
Okay, yeah, that's how you. No, I'm speaking about happiness in terms of absolute happiness. And then you want more.
I think in absolute happiness, then we don't need more.
Can we use the idea of greed in this scenario? Where you found absolute happiness
No,
and then you want more.
And there's no place of the greed once we have absolute happiness.
Okay, all right. So here is a revelation in some sense. The idea of ruchi or taste is that it forces you to be greedy even when you're completely satisfied. The idea of taste or ruchi is that even after complete satisfaction, you're like, oh, I wish I had 10 tongues. I wish I had 20 hands. I wish I could have 4 heads to drive 4 Teslas at once. That's not possible in the material sense. However, when we speak about wanting to taste the holy names, then one great saint of the name Rupa Goswami says, I wish I had hundreds of tongues to chant, to just be able to vibrate these wonderful incantations, the sound vibration of Krishna. Just Krishna. Dvaya. Just this 2 akshara or alphabets. Krishna. There's so much sweetness in them that I wish I had hundreds of tongues to vibrate at the same time the word Krishna and thousands of years to hear the names Krishna. And if you have that ability, then you can speculate further that at that point you look for most happiness or more than that. I wish I had thousands of tongues to vibrate to alphabets or two names, Krishna, and millions of years to hear these two syllables. Krishna, these two syllables. So that greed is called as laulyam. What is it called as? Laulyam. Laulyam means a greed that is born despite the fact that you're satisfied. It's like, why do I just have two eyes to look at Krishna? Why do I have eyelids that shut down your vision momentarily? I wish these eyelids would never flicker, because then I would be able to see Krishna's form constantly. So when we read these words, when we read such conceptions, then immediately that is what we want to do. Like, okay, now this is how I'm going to do it. Because if I would be able to do it mechanically, then most probably one day I would have that kind of love for Krishna. It doesn't happen like that. The only way it can happen is chanting the holy names in the present age and time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare. So sometimes people wonder that how do we know if we are doing well in our spiritual practices? They use that heavy sounding word. How do I know I am progressing in spiritual life? I'm like, yeah, somebody has to now evaluate it and give you a progress report. Who does that? Maybe if I have a name change, I could be able to do it. Isn't it? A name change that ends with Das or Devidasi. Then maybe I would have the qualification to evaluate and give a progress report. Under such introspection, people even go for a name change. And after that also they are, how do I know how I am? Those words again. Progressing in spiritual life. How do I know? I'm also trying to find out. So the hint has been given. After you chant Hare Krishna, if you feel satisfied, like completely satisfied, like I and you, we may sometimes feel satisfied chanting Hare Krishna, right? Isn't it? Like so many times we find great comfort in chanting Hare Krishna late at night because you really get good sleep. As you're chanting and fall off to sleep, you never realize whether the beads have fallen off your hands. You go into a state of deep unconsciousness. And getting used to that process of chanting, unknowingly, that is what happens when you do it in the morning too. As you're chanting, you drift off into those momentary states of unconsciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna, 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 Krishna. Krishna. So, if we are actually being affected by the process of our consciousness being cleansed, if we are actually having that happen to us, then there would be some satisfaction, some degree of satisfaction would feel chanting Hare Krishna. And if there is a situation where we are completely satisfied chanting Hare Krishna someday, somehow or the other it just happens, we are like really satisfied chanting Hare Krishna, we feel like, why don't I have a few more tongues to chant Hare Krishna? So please don't try to undergo some kind of surgery to split your tongues. Let it stay one. You know, sometimes devotees have an idea, people have ideas like that. Now somebody read in the scriptures that you should have the holy names constantly on your lips. They went and tattooed the holy names on the lips. They got the lips tattooed with the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They were asked why. They said, because scriptures say you should have the holy names constantly on your lips. The holy names should constantly be on your tongue. Please don't get yourself tattooed like that. Yes. What it basically means is that just after having a nice scoopful of the best flavor of ice cream that you really like, after that, you feel so satisfied, like, yum. And then you wish to have another scoopful, or you wish you could have more capacity to eat more. It's not because you hanker for more. It's just that you find it so very tasty. All right. So we'll stop here. So that is Satchidananda Rupa. Yes. So Satyavrat Muni is glorifying Krishna as this great personality, supreme controller, seeking blessings of Krishna because he's going to try and glorify him. So he needs Krishna's blessings and strength to be able to do that, which is very nice of him. It is a very good example of how he says, Namami Ishwara. I offer obeisances to the supreme controller. And then he goes on to describe that pastime where Krishna is being punished by Mother Yashoda. It's very sweet. There are other pastimes also he describes later on. Like after this, Krishna, he helps the sons of Kubera, Nalakuvar and Manigriv. He has them get liberated from their curse. So he is trying to describe the pastime of Krishna being tied up by Mother Yashoda, isn't it? So he's describing the events sequentially. So we are very, very fortunate to be able to meditate on this wonderful pastime in our movement, based on the writings of the 6 Goswamis. We have accepted that in the month of Kartik, we'd worship Krishna with lamps and by singing Damodar Ashtaka. Yes, so Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami writes that in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Sanatana Goswami Hari Bhakti Vilas is Gopal Bhatta Goswami's rendition of the different ways of worship and Krishna consciousness. So he took guidance from Sanatana Goswami, instructions for Sanatana Goswami to do it, Hari Bhakti Vilas. So there in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is stated that in the month of Kartik, one can glorify Krishna through this pastime, where we sing the poem written down by Satyavrat Muni, glorifying this act of Mother Yashoda tying up Krishna to a grinding mortar. It is called as Damodar lila, and the prayer is Damodar Ashtaka. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for
for so graciously, so beautifully, so deeply sharing the Damodar lila with all of us. In fact, it was so descriptive. I think you all have gone to that state where this was happening